An assistant New York district attorney says that the killer of John Lennon borrowed money in Hawaii, bought a gun, and then traveled to Manhattan with the express purpose of killing the former Beatle. 25-year-old Mark Chapman was arraigned today and charged with that murder. Phil Walters has more on the killing.
Within minutes of the shooting, mourners began to gather. All night they kept coming to the regal old apartment building on the west side. John Lennon had been walking to the front door from a limousine with his wife, Yoko Ono, beside him. A man had called his name. He started to turn. The man dropped to a combat firing stance and began shooting. There were 7 entrance and exit wounds, 3 in the chest, 2 in the left arm, 2 more in the back. Lennon staggered and said, "I've been shot." He died in an instant. A jumble of information began to pour out.
He was limp. There were about 6 officers carrying him. He had a little bit of blood coming out of his mouth.
Officer, you know his condition? Bad.
Police rushed Lennon to Roosevelt Hospital, only 13 blocks away. Yoko Ono was taken in a second car.
She wanted him to be all right.
What did she say?
Tell me he's all right. Tell me he's all right.
I understand that the transport from his residence, which is slightly less than a mile from the hospital, took only several minutes. I don't think it would have been possible to resuscitate him by any means.
We have arrested Mark David Chapman of 55 South Kukui, K-U-K-U-I Street, Hawaii, for the homicide of John Lennon.
Police called the suspect a screwball. He may have been stalking Lennon. He had asked Lennon for his autograph and had gotten it, and it was only 5 or 6 hours later that Lennon was gunned down. People began to bring flowers to the front gate of the Lennon apartment building. And throughout the new day, the vigil continued. The beautiful residence, the location of the movie Rosemary's Baby, had always drawn a scattering of autograph seekers and curious fans, and no one much noticed. It was a place of refuge for wealthy celebrities like Lauren Bacall and Gilda Radner and John Lennon. Now there was a crowd that jammed traffic, and the mood kept changing strangely, quietly singing one moment, and then a feel of only light curiosity and chatting. And then a woman became hysterical. Photographers crowded her and climbed on cars. What must it have looked like from the apartments above? Ex-Beatle Ringo Starr arrived to visit Yoko Ono. Yesterday, John Lennon gave what is now his last recorded interview.
You have to give thanks to God or whatever it is up there, the fact that we all survived. We all survived Vietnam or Watergate or the tremendous upheaval of the whole world that's changed. We were the hip ones in the 60s, but the world is not like the 60s anymore. The whole map's changed, and we're going into an unknown future, but we're still all here. We're still, while there's life, there's hope.
Tonight, the vigil continues. Phil Walters for CBS News in New York.
As for Mark Chapman, he was charged with second-degree murder. Now, you may be asking yourself, why was Chapman charged with second-degree murder? Well, it all involves a court challenge to New York's death penalty law. Currently, in New York State, first-degree murder carries the death penalty, but until that challenge is completed in the Supreme Court, all murders are being classified as second-degree. Well, reaction to the death of John Lennon surfaced quickly here in New Orleans. At radio stations across the city, normal music programming was hastily changed to include blocks of Lennon's music and the songs of the Beatles. Radio call-in lines were jammed with listeners who first wanted to know if the news was true, then just wanted to express their grief. Area record stores witnessed a run on all of Lennon's recordings. And by the end of the day, many record and tape outlets reported that their stocks were completely exhausted. And at the Singer Theater, where a stage show called Beatlemania will open next week, promoters say that ticket sales today jumped by 50%. We'll have more on Lennon later on in this program.